appointed executive of the Economic Community of West African States have been charged to sustain the tempo of operational standards of the outgoing theme so as to remain the best performing regional economic community on the continent. Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs for States, Ambassador Zubairo Dada, gave the charge at the handing over ceremony of the President of the ECOWAS Commission, Jean-Claude Cassibro, in Abuja. He said the outgoing team has worked tremendously despite the daunting challenges of insecurity, health, as well as the Russia and Ukraine war, which has ravaged the region with food crisis, thus urging them to place the interests of the people they represent above other issues to ensure the enhancement of the ECOWAS institutions. As the tenure of Jean-Claude Cassibro, President of the ECOWAS Commission, elapses this July 2022, Dr. Umar Aliu Toure from the Gambia assumes the office of the President of the ECOWAS Commission. It's a 4-year tenure of the new executive as member states are looking up to them in delivering the much-needed results based on community levies paid in the sub-region. Speaking at the event, Dada urged the new management to ensure accountability and effective administration to boost citizens' confidence in the region.
That to remain the best performing regional economic community on the continent, the new management must place the interests of the region ahead of other parochial interests and ensure that all your actions are geared towards enhancing the performance of ECOWAS institutions and making the organization fit for purpose. Consequently, your team must continue the implementation of the institutional reforms that have been started. Your management is enjoined to serve the community citizens with greater transparency, accountability, and effectiveness. Your management is also advised to endeavor to carry out other necessary internal and external reforms that will ensure that ECOWAS becomes more people and development driven. Let me further underscore that Nigeria expects the new management to reposition ECOWAS to support the achievement of the AU Agenda 2063, as well as United Nations Agenda 2030 for sustainable development in the region, as well as strengthen ECOWAS multi-country offices to drive the implementation of the main elements of the region's Vision 2050.
Also speaking, Ambassador Zubairo advised the management to serve diligently and live up to the people's expectations, thereby enhancing regional integration for best practices.
I wish to emphasize that now is the time to generate greater public trust, support, and engagement. This will only be possible if the new management sets higher ambitions and sufficiently motivates the staff of the organization. Let me here state, for the record, that Nigeria, in the face of escalating global economic downturn and its disproportionate effect on the resource base of ECOWAS member states, expects a more focused and progressive organization. Therefore, the incoming management must be ready to manage the resources of all ECOWAS institutions much more efficiently, especially at the operational level. Our people that we tax in order to fund this organization are expecting more from us, and we cannot afford to fail them.
In his speech, the outgoing president of the ECOWAS Commission, Jean-Claude Cassibro, said for the past 4 years, they have been implementing their mandate despite the difficulties faced in the region, thus commending the ECOWAS member states for their support to victims of natural disasters and conflicts arising from terrorist attacks in the sub-region. He added that the regional action plan to combat terrorism in West Africa that has been elaborated could be effective in addressing security challenges if implemented.
Over the past 4 years, the outgoing statutory appointees have implemented their activities in a very difficult context. As you all know, first of all, the deterioration of the security situation has caused difficulties in the Sahel areas, affecting Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, and the northeast of Nigeria. But it soon expanded to the coastal zone, hitting Benin, Togo, and Côte d'Ivoire. Terrorist attack and herds of bandits plunged this country into mourning. We've closed on 14,000 deaths in the last 4 years, threatening the peace of rural population and forcing people to seek shelter away from their home areas. The number of refugees and internally displaced people in our region reached almost 5 million persons who are in need of humanitarian assistance. The Commission has reached out to provide assistance to many of them, as well as to victims of natural disaster.
Meanwhile, Dr. Omar Aliou Touré, the incoming president of the ECOWAS Commission, in his remark, commends the authority of head of state and government for entrusting the office to him and his team, noting that his transition is at the critical moment of insecurity, hence the need for constant collaboration and commitment with partners to avert hunger and poverty in the region.
Transition comes at a critical moment in the history of our region, and indeed in the history of the world itself. For over a year, a pandemic grounded the whole world to a halt. Lives and livelihoods were disrupted, outputs and productivity declined in a manner that impacted negatively overall economic growth and pushed millions into poverty. Running parallel to COVID-19 challenges was insecurity on various fronts, engendered largely by terrorism, political instability, military coups, and other nefarious activities such as abductions for ransom, illegal arms, and drug trafficking. As if that is not enough, our region's challenges have been compounded by a major war whose repercussions in the form of deeper food insecurity are being felt by poor farmers and herdsmen and women. The insecurity we face at various levels would require deeper partnerships and consistent collaboration. Our partnership should therefore be sufficiently equitable and efficient to enable us to lift our people from abject poverty through capacity building, investment, and fair trade. Most importantly, our partnership should allow us to achieve lasting peace and security across the region and indeed across the whole African continent.
Subsequently, in order to reduce operational costs as proposed by member states, the ECOWAS Commission, which had 15 executives, now has 7 charged with the responsibility of making the institution more people-oriented and developmentally driven to achieve the set targets. Vincent Okushi, QTV News, Abuja.